Today is Friday, the 18th, 2013. My talk shows is about things that nobody ever talks about or never heard about. That is my talk shows that I ever talks about. Today is about things that people never sees around them or never seems to know anything that been around them from things that have been way back before we was ever born in the world. Did you ever seen the show about Roots? You see how they took their history of things in their family that went on back in slavery, dealing with Kunta KK. You see when they went back in Africa and how he discovered his people from what his father was telling him and all his generation, until one of them in their generation knew to go back where he had came from and found out who his people was. Well, we are dealing with these things today. People don't know that back in those times that they had people in the world at those times, and they have faded away, and people don't know their history and know nothing about their peoples and don't know about the world we are living in today. The world we are living in today, these things had took place back at that time. People say we never had these things going on. We did. If you see the videos, you see all the bad things that people are doing. And those things was back at that time, people was doing bad things. As you seen when Adam and Eve and doing back in Moses, when you see how they slaved people and the things they did to people. Well, what I am trying to say is that you see all the game that people are in today. You see back then when they had KKs and Ku Klux Klan at that time. Those things fade away. And now you don't hear too much about those things no more. Well, back in the time before I was ever born, my family and people used to talk about the things that people was back in called the swamp and the gator swamps and the crypts and all those things that people was in. So surely those things went on back then, where they used to call them chainsaws and all kinds of bad things that people was in. And they fade away, and people don't talk about those things, and sometimes people don't know about those things because those things was only taught to people who had families that was in it, but now they have faded away. People don't talk about those things, and it seems like that they never existed on this earth. They have been faded away from the earth of people talking about. So when you hear me talk, you may not understand or know what they are talking about. But it's surely things that have happened back at those times. And they are still going on today. But I tell everybody that we look at things that went on back then and living in the world today with these things, we surely could overcome these things. You could be any place on this earth where things happen, but you could raise your children and your family up from around these things, is teaching them what they get into and what they don't, who they bathe and who they don't bathe, knowing the right places to go to get help from and the wrong people to go to get help from. We are living now, like I say, in the Twilight Zone. The Twilight Zone are a world that we don't know anybody anymore. And the things that we are going to get things from people we don't know anything about. It's just like I was looking on the video and someone posted a writing on Facebook was saying that if you see a child and they're lost and need to find their way home and give you a note, don't take them to their address. Take them to the police department. Where those things been going on back in the older days. But people used to write the address and the phone number, how to get in touch with the person where the child lived at. They used to put it in their jacket or either write it in their shoe. So if a child was lost, you could pull the shoe off and look inside of it, and it would tell you where that child lived at and who that parent was. But when you look at that child, you knew that child. So I'm saying, hold on and look and wait and be exerted and see what God has for all of us. God bless each and every one of us in these troubled days.